What's up gamers, it's Fedboy here, and today we've got another God tutorial for you. Today it's Nuwa, Guardian of Heaven. Please like and subscribe to the channel. If you're a new and beginning player, I suggest watching the entire video, but if you're an advanced player who's already familiar with Smite, I will leave timestamps in the description if you want to watch certain segments or go straight to the match. Other than that, let's get it started. Nuwa's passive is Strength of Wood. Every 15 seconds, your next basic attack will root all targets hit. Damaging an enemy with the basic attack reduces this cooldown by 1 second. So this is a change from Smite 1. You used to have to hit 4 basics and the 5th one would root. So now this is a cooldown. It's every 15 seconds and hitting an enemy reduces that. So it's a lot faster for basic attacks. Moving on to her basic attacks, as we see. It scales off of 100% strength and 20 intelligence, pretty standard for any of the characters in Smite right now. So it helps to build her out in a basic attacker way. Her first ability, Mysterious Fog, send a dense fog slowly forward that deals magical damage when it touches an enemy. Enemies that remain in the fog take additional damage every second. You and allied gods are stealth when inside the fog. Gain Strength of Water, which gives you movement speed. Allied gods that enter the fog gain Strength of Water. So this is a change from Smite 1. Now all of your allies that enter the fog will also gain the movement speed. It's also great for getting your team around, for evading enemies, and getting that little bit of extra speed to walk away from anyone pursuing you. Clay Soldiers are second ability. Summon Clay Soldiers to attack the chosen target. Clay Soldiers will dash at enemies within 4.8 meters, dealing magical damage, then begin the basic attack. Clay Soldiers last for 10 seconds. Gain Strength of Earth, which gives you magical protection. Now, as of today, 10.3, there was a nerf to her penetration, so it's not going to be as powerful, but still this ability does help you really take down your enemies by punching through all the protections that they have. Nuwa's third ability, Shining Metal, launch a projectile that pierces all enemies and walls, dealing magical damage to enemies as it passes through. If the projectile hits a clay soldier, it explodes, dealing damage in an area, stunning enemies and towers. Gain Strength of Metal, causing your basic attacks to deal magical damage in an area when you hit an enemy. Now this is a change from Smite 1. The big difference is when you fire this, now your basic attacks do cleave autos, so this will help you in that early lane phase against camps to clear. Now there have been some nerfs. It's down to 40% up from when it used to be 70% on the explosion damage, so she doesn't hit as hard as she used to, but she still is quite scary when those 3 minions come out and get hit by Shining Metal. And now we're going to be moving on to Nuwa's ultimate ability, Fire Shards. You become CC immune and sent into the air. You and your team gain visibility on all enemy gods. Summon Fire Shards that deal magical damage to each enemy god. Gain Strength of Fire, which causes your basic attacks to go farther and faster. Now this ultimate does not miss. They can Aegis the damage or immune it in another way, but it's always to guarantee and hit. So use it to indicate where enemies are on the map and deal damage from afar. Now let's go into practice and check out her kit in action. So now let's move on to the practice range. As you can see here, Hi-Res gives you a few different builds for her. You can go burst damage, you can go full cooldowns, or you can also build a hybrid basic attack. I don't recommend that one. I've tried it. It's not as effective as I thought it would be. But I tend to go either the cooldown reductions or the burst damage, mainly because that ult hits everyone, so you might as well spam it as much as possible. Your relic is your relic of choice. You want to go defensive, you want to go offensive, this is really up to you. But just know she's not exactly the most mobile goddess, so outside of the movement boost you get from your Mysterious Fog, I would just caution that. So we're going to open up here on the Emir bot with the basic attack, and as you can see, it roots. Now above the face card is the circle, which shows the rooting basic filling back up once it hits the top, and boom, now you can do it again. So like I said before, every time you hit an enemy, that is reduced by 1 second. So if you have enemies in place, start firing. Now here I'm going to take a quick little angle just to like position myself, and then we'll start to use some of the other abilities. So as you can see, once you fire the Shining Metal, you have a little timer on top of your health bar, and that is for the Strength of Metal proc, which will show when your basic attacks now go from a single target to a cleave on. Now I'm going to add my levels to get the rest of my basic abilities, and we're going to show how some of these work. So now I've fired my clay soldiers, and I'm just going to let them hit for a second so you can see how much damage they do at level 1 to a singular enemy. And as you can see, it goes right down to half. Now this is with an Emir that has no items on them yet, it's just base health, but still that shows how much damage can be done just by summoning your clay soldiers. So up front and in the early game, they are very, very scary. So don't underestimate these things, don't let them wall block you into a corner, and yeah, just don't get caught behind the Nuon minions. So now I'm going to do a couple more moves. I have used my fog now, which as you can see, it does 2 ticks of damage. There's the initial tick, and then for every second that an enemy is still in the fog, they're going to take more damage. So I'm going to show you really quickly the movement bonus that you get. As you can see, speed is at 430, which now changed to 473. It's very small, but it is noticeable on the battlefield, especially at the early levels. As you'll see right now, how much slower it takes to walk across without that fog. So I'm just going to do a quick little walk here, and just that 47 extra movement speed really does make a difference when you're trying to get away from a target or trying to get away from an ability being shot at you. So do be aware of that. Do notice how fast you can get away from stuff. It may be small, but it does help. So here I'm going to fire my full combo, which is my 1, 2, then 3. As you can see now, those little metal explosions, that indicates those are AoE hits. But yeah, it does a lot of damage. And as you'll see, that stunned the Emir as well. So I'm going to fire the combo, there's my soldiers, boom, and he's stunned. Now, you would say to yourself, hey, isn't it the same amount of damage if just the minions hit him over and over? Well, unfortunately, the enemy is not just going to stand there and take it. So getting that guaranteed combo off, that's going to get you your damage on your enemies. So I'm going to upgrade now all the way to level 20. Now let's get a build going. So this one I think I choose Sands of Time. You can choose Conduit Gem. It does more damage if you choose Conduit Gem, especially if you go all the way up to Archmage Gem. Now that they've made some additions, the cooldown rate on Sands of Time is now 20. That's a big buff for me in this last patch, which came out yesterday, so it would take Pendulum ages to get the 20 cooldown rate. Now you get it right out the rip with Sands of Time. For this build, I'm taking a little bit of the liberties from the cooldown build, getting a Chronos Pendant. That's going to give you extra cooldown rate, plus you're also going to get that 1 second every 10 seconds, the Gem of Focus. It's going to give you that extra damage and movement speed. So obviously when you use her 1, you're going to move even faster now. I'm also going to get Totem Death for the extra penetration on hit of an enemy god or jungle boss. I'm going to get Soul Gem for the healing and the bonus damage on any ability hit. I'm also going to end this with a couple more big hit items like Soul Reaver, which does damage based off the health. And finally, add World Stone. World Stone's going to be huge for you because aside from the cooldown rate, your ultimate's also reduced by 20%. And as Nuwa, you want to be able to shoot off that ultimate as many times as you want. Staff of Myriad is another option. Rod of Tahuti is another option. But with this build, you get a lot of cooldown, you get a lot of bonus damage on proc. You also get some penetration in there, as well as that 20% cooldown on your ultimate. But the other items that I'm showing are also good for this build. However, you do want to focus on your ultimate as a big portion of your damage. So now we're going to talk a little about lane mechanics. As Nuwa, most likely you'll be in mid lane. So knowing that, you want to use your abilities to cover for yourself. Shining Metal is going to pierce the entire wave, as you see here. I did miss a little bit, no big deal, but you can follow up with the cleave autos that Shining Metal gives you. As the game progresses, you'll be able to do more damage and it'll be easier, but early on, you're not going to be able to clear the wave like I did with full build, so you will need to use those cleave autos to help yourself out and clear the enemy wave before your opposing enemy clears out your wave. Here I'm going to use a little bit of different combo. I'm going to assume that now the jungle gank is more prepared. I'm going to use my fog to hit all the enemies first. I'm going to fire my shining metal to clear the wave and use those cleave autos for any remaining creep. And now my minion wave plus my minions are going to be in the tower. As you can see, this is a fully stacked tower. I can get all the bounties. It has no damage on it before, but just putting in one minion wave with a Minotaur is able to take down an entire tower. So if you ever get that chance, whether you kill the mid lane or the mid lane backs and you get a full clear on their minion wave, it's very, very powerful. And just like that, you can clean up a tower. Those minions are going to provide so many extra seconds for your creep wave to stay under tower. So do not underestimate the power of those minions. They're really key to Nuwa's entire kit. Now I'm going to show you Nuwa's damage jump at level 20. As you can see, we're going to upgrade all the abilities. We have our full items. Now I'm going to use the combo. 1, 2, 3, boom. 1580 damage. Plus the ultimate, they can get 2087 damage. That's a pretty significant damage chunk, even on an Emir that has no extra prots and no extra health from items. Now I'm going to add the caustic buff, which gives 2.5 extra damage. And wow, like that's no ultimate, and now we're already at 1900. So as you can see, Nuwa is a serious damage dealer. If you get your combo off, especially those 3 explosions from your clay soldiers in a group of people, they're getting chunked. And that's with the nerfs that she's had to both her damage scaling on the shining metal, on the clay soldier explosions, and the penetration. Yeah, you can don't just tap people like that. Now we've got some quick Nuwa tech. We're going to send our minions in, and once they aggro the tower, we're going to be able to move right through, get on out of danger. And this is something you can do if you're behind enemy lines and you don't want to walk through the jungle. Just throw your minions in the tower and make sure that red line shows they're aggroed onto your clay soldiers, and boom, you can walk to safety. Also, you can use your fog to get through, but it won't shield you from the damage, so use your minions first and then use the fog as a way of extra movement speed to get out of dodge. As you can see, I'm setting them again. I'm going to be able to move right back to the lane. The tower is going to ignore me. These are just those little things that you can do as you want to get yourself out of bad situations. Also, don't forget the fog. As you can see, the extra movement speed is now 512. I can move quickly out of dodge and I'm good to go. The last thing I want to show is Titan sieging with Nuwa. Now there's no enemy gods to counter this, so it's going to be a little different in game. But what I do want to show is that with your clay soldiers, you can siege a Titan indefinitely. Now this would work if there's a large cooldown, like 60 plus seconds, and there's no one left to challenge you, and you're the only person left alive. You can siege a Titan indefinitely. You just don't use shining metal, you let your minions do all the work, your clay soldiers are going to stand there, tank all the damage for you, and if you have enough cooldown, which I do, I can spawn these faster than the Titan can kill it. And as you can see, it doesn't have cleave autos. Hopefully they change that in the next patch or a future patch, but in Smite 2, the Titan doesn't do cleave autos, so you can just do this over and over. Just keep sending minions, let your other minions walk up, and boom, like doesn't matter. Just, the clay soldiers are going to tank all that. You can safely poke it down. Yeah, it'll take a minute, but you can do it safely over and over. I'm not even sending my fog as extra damage, and it's going to go ahead and kill Titan for me. So, just a little tech you can do if you're ever in the case where it's just you alive, everyone's dead, the cooldowns are super long, it's late game. Just keep throwing your minions at a Titan and you can take it down by yourself. Alright, that was the last bit of the stuff I want to show you for Nuwa on the practice stage. Now we're going to get into a game and you'll be able to see her in action in a full Conquest match. Until next time, Thanks again, and let's go over to that match. And now I'll show you how to play Nuwa in a casual Conquest match. To start off, you're going to want to be on the left side if you're on the order side, or right if you're on the chaos side, in order to take the backside minions. These Harpy camps are going to give you the experience to hit level 2 by the time that you get to your mid lane wave. Now, if your opponent does, which the Anubis does here, he's going to go straight to mid lane and attack that wave. If you're able to kill this back camp, take all the Harpies, and move towards your mid lane, you should be able to hit level 2 as soon as you clear your wave. Now, as you can see, Anubis moved to the side to get the most effect on his one. He still didn't clean up the wave fast enough for me to get there. I'm going to make it to lane. I'm going to get all these minions now, and even if the minions go under tower, I'm still going to get enough experience here to hit level 2. So now I have the experience advantage over Anubis. I've gotten Clay Soldiers as my second ability in order to keep that stun in my repertoire, and now the Anubis is just cleaning with the 1. His level 2 is a little bit stronger than mine, so I'm going to play back a little bit, be safer, and use my minions and my Shining Metal to, 1, clear waves, and also to keep him back. That stun right there shows his aggression is now stopped, and I can go back about to my business, cleaning up the minions, and holding my wave. Unfortunately, I lose the gold camp there. That's not too big of a deal early. It will scale over time, so don't let too many of those go. But here, I'm just going to clean the wave. He's going to use his 1. My Loki's going to come and gank, and actually, he's going to use his blink to escape. Now, we know that for the next 4 minutes, that's down, and that's going to come back to haunt him. But it's good that we got out and took away his ability early to use his relic. As you can see, the Loki now is moving up to gank the other enemy Loki, but because I took the bottom route, he's now going to be 2v1 before I get there. I'm going to throw up my Clay Soldiers, and even just the Shining Metal toss as a way to threaten a stun is enough to get them off. We both back off and live to fight another day. I come back at level 5 and fire up my Shards. I see that everyone's kind of spread and mid lane's open, so I can now confidently walk back, and Anubis gets there first. No big deal. It's perfectly fine. We're going to clean wave. We're going to use our minions, and look, he walked too close, he gets stunned under tower, takes a tower shot, and that's enough for Loki to go in, use his abilities, and clean up the Anubis. Now, Loki here on their team, he's going to come in behind. I'm not going to panic. I'm going to throw down my minions. My Clay Soldiers are going to protect me. They're going to turn around. We're going to get the stun off. Loki's going to dive in, and then the enemy Loki is now going to ultimate out. It's just a quick demonstration of how even when you're low, and even in the early game, Nuwa is still a force, so you can't just throw yourself. In this next segment, I'm going to notice the gold camp is taken by Anubis, which means I need to get up my fog so I can regain position. I throw my fog down and my minions, so the Clay Soldiers are now attacking. This allows me to reposition and gain supremacy of midwave. I unfortunately missed my Shining Metal, and now Anubis has the upper hand. He gets his stun off and uses his ultimate. In order to get out of it, I use my ultimate to get into the air, be CC immune, and I face away so that I land away from the Anubis. I put down my fog again, use my fog to push back the wave, using my autos to stop the Minotaur, and now throwing up my Clay Soldiers to destroy him with the Shining Metal. This has allowed me to escape and live. In this next segment, I'm going to show you how to use Nuwa to prolong sieges and turn fights. In this instance, we have our support in mid lane with us, so we have some extra protection. I'm going to use Clay Soldiers to get into the tower and stun the Anubis. He doesn't take this very well and begins to attack my support. Using his ultimate early shows he has no clue what he's doing and gives away too much of his damage early. He has no power now. So I'm going to use my ultimate to back Loki and the Anubis off of my support. We have Loki coming in with the gank, and now we can turn the fight on them. He's out of range, so I hit him with my Shining Metal, and I wait for my Clay Soldiers to walk into tower. Because we have a Warhorn wave with us, we now have stronger minions attacking the tower, as well as my Clay Soldiers to support them. We can prolong this for a lot longer than normally would be. Now, Loki was smart there. He walked into my fog so that the tower would then aggro on me, but I'm able to throw my Clay Soldiers down again, grab the tower bounties, clear the wave, and prolong the siege. Since I'm out of mana, I decide to move back, retreat, get a few more hits in, throw down some Clay Soldiers, and then back. I'm going to go back to base now, grab some mana, and live to fight another day. In this segment, I'll show you how Nuwa assists her team in taking objectives. First, the mid wave is dealt with along with this Anubis. A successful gank from Loki, Ymir, and I allows us to push the mid tower. I use clay soldiers to take the aggro, however Loki shows up to destroy them. The call is then made to go to Gulf Fury, so I acknowledge and start making my way there. I use my fog to gain the movement speed bonus in order to get there faster. I then drop clay soldiers to aggro the Gold Fury, however my support is already on it, so I'm okay with that. I hear Loki's invisibility, so then I go into my ultimate to find where he is. He's right on top of us. However, we outsecure with Sundering Arc, turn on Loki, and eventually kill him. This would have been huge if I had not gone up and he had stolen it with the Sunder. Unfortunately, we all go separate ways, and my support gets caught out against Hades and Zeus. He's immediately dispatched, and unfortunately we do lose him. I throw down my minions to stun, and then move away. We got Gold Fury and a kill, and it's fortunate that we lost him, but we came out on top in this exchange. In this segment, I grab the red buff and notice a big fight breaking out in mid lane. I go up in my ultimate to get vision and see that there's separated members of the other team. Unfortunately, we lose 2 of our team members off the rip, and now my support has to back up. I throw down my fog to cover my minions, and after an amazing stun from our support, we dispatch the Loki with shining metal. I then use my fog again to cover my Ymir's escape as he uses his ice wall to get away. Our offender now joins the fight to help turn the tide. He then grabs the Anubis and brings him under tower. 1 tower shot gets off, and that's enough to help finish him off as Fenrir destroys the Anubis. I then get my clay soldiers down to get a double stun off on Zeus and Amaterasu, which puts her into her ultimate. As Zeus is destroyed, the body blocking from my teammates are perfect, as I'm able to get away, and she's eventually finished off by the Fenrir. That just shows that even when you're outnumbered, you can still pull off plays and win games. In this next segment, I'll show you how quickly things can escalate when you effectively use Nuwa to turn the tide for your team. I see a fight breaking out in left lane, so I bide my time and watch the health bars. I see a potential kill, I go up an ultimate, my fire shards come down, and Zeus is destroyed. We now taken 1 player off the map. The Anubis leaves the lane, which allows me to cleanly take away his wave and then continue to push mine. Although he gets the wrap off, I've already thrown down my clay soldiers, and they're pushing him away. He gets stunned from my shining metal, and now I back off to reposition. I then throw my clay soldiers again and my fog to cover them to grab both tower bounties. I then get ganked by the Amaterasu, but my Fenrir is there to help me out. I don't want to leave him hanging though, so I throw my clay soldiers and get the stun off for him to retreat and reposition. I see that Ymir is coming to the battle, so we look for a chance to turn the tide again. Amaterasu uses her dash, and through property ability usage and CC, we're able to get the double kill and take these 2 out. From there, we now can siege with 3 players down. I push down my clay soldiers again, and we start to push up mid lane. By gaining both bounties and getting the first one, we now have a massive gold lead that's ballooned to over 7,000 on the enemy team. I then throw down some more clay soldiers to continue the fight. In this segment, I'll show you why overconfidence can still get you killed as Nuwa. I see Zeus, who immediately pops his ultimate. Me being 3 levels ahead, wants to pursue this and get another kill. I throw down my fog, but don't follow it. I then pursue Zeus into his side of the map, all the way to his back camps. Thinking all the danger is ahead of me, I then fire my minions to fight the Amaterasu, who turns around and gets the stun off on me. I don't have my ultimate at this point, so I don't know where everyone is exactly at on the field, and I pay for it dearly. I throw down my abilities, thinking that I'm clear. I get out of my fog, Loki gets behind me, and destroys me. This is just another moment of where, even though you're ahead, you don't want to give away too much, especially because you're Nuwa, and you don't have the kind of movement abilities that other gods have. All you have is your fog, is extra speed, and that won't get you out of situations like this. Although my team cleaned it up, it shows that you still have to be careful and wary of the surroundings around you. In this segment, I'll show you how Nuwa's proper positioning can turn big dividends in a team fight. The enemy team is setting up in mid, and they have 2 of their players on the Naga camp. At this rate, we're not going to get that, and unfortunately they just dropped it. So we're going to have to find another way to gain value out of this fight. We're split up, but so are they. We're able to get off some CC, and unfortunately we get cut off because of the Hades ultimate. Luckily, our CC immunities allow us to reposition, and we can now turn the fight. I keep my clay minions down in order to continually harass the enemy team. We then walk over, and dispatch 2 more of their members. Loki gets a kill on one of our guys, but luckily we have clay soldiers to handle with him. Down 3 people, and now soon to be down 4. I then throw out my ultimate to get the last guy to back off. Hades now runs for base, and we use our clay soldiers to then siege middle lane. Because we have upgraded minions after taking the Gold Fury twice, I now can throw down clay soldiers again. We now have extra people to take on this Phoenix. We wall off, he goes under, but it's okay because we have multiple ways to CC him. I throw down my clay soldiers again. Unfortunately I miss, but we do get the Phoenix. It's a huge siege for us. This segment is definitely one of the longer ones, but we're going to show you exactly what you can do with little mana and little health. My support takes some damage, but he's still nice and thick, I suppose. He's only got 10% of his health left, and I have a few abilities a second with the mana that I have left. However, we're going to siege this tower for a while, and our Fenrir is just going to smack it and smack it and smack it. In fact, we get both bounties. But now it's time to retreat. The enemy team has spawned, and they're coming our way. Through property ability usage, we're able to continually back off and stun and run away. Now, when you have this much mana left, and I'm talking I get an ability every few seconds and that's it, you have to know what to use in order to keep making space. Minions will slow and wall block, and then using your Shining Mantle to stun will also give you some extra CC. My minion uses his ultimate to get his extra prots and survives the Hades ultimate. The Fenrir hops in and goes for the kill. Fortunately, I decide to steal it from him. However, Amaterasu has now joined the fight, and she's about to learn that even with no mana and no health, you can still get bodied. Ymir gets the stun off. She pops Hussar's wings, but still can't catch, because my minions do the thing called body blocking. She then loses sight because we're inside the fog and dies for it. Just goes to show you, even if you have 10% health and no mana, you can still make big plays. And now, the final coup de grace. I see that the fight's going to happen in mid lane, so I head on over. I throw down my fog to get some extra movement speed, and have the minions just in case someone decides to gank me on the way there. I see Loki's in right lane, although I incorrectly call it out on left lane, in-game. I still move to mid, and the big fight breaks out. We keep the Hades stunned, and rooted, and unfortunately for him, he dies. Zeus also dies. And now we're pursuing. It's 3v4. We have the team. Loki's behind us. I throw up the ultimate. We kill Amaterasu. And now it's the big push towards the home stretch. Since I have clay soldiers, I can now siege this and effectively give my team an extra tank. Unfortunately for the enemy team, it's GG. With 4 players down and only Loki to stop us, we easily walk in and use our abilities to destroy the Titan. I hope you've enjoyed this new tutorial. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I hope you'll join us next time.